I had 5 suicide attempts. My most recent and final suicide attempt was November 4th of 2013.
When all seemed lost, veteran John Lubecki decided to take one last unorthodox chance. A tiny pill ingested in a darkened room, buried under blankets, surrounded by professionals.
Sometimes people report a lot of thoughts going very fast.
A once infamous club drug unexpectedly becoming a final hope for healing. Methylene dioxymethamphetamine, known on the street as ecstasy or Molly.
There was a nickname for your base.
Yeah, Mortaritaville.
Lubecki served in Iraq in 2006 as a member of the Army National Guard. When he returned home, he was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
Every single day, no matter how good or bad the day was, my brain was trying to figure out how to kill myself.
You were suicidal every day?
Every day.
In 2014, Lubecki volunteered for a clinical trial studying whether MDMA could enhance therapy. The trial, conducted by a nonprofit research organization called MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. Rick Doblin is the founder and executive director.
Many studies of PTSD don't work with people who have attempted to kill themselves in the past. We felt that we have to work with the people who are suffering the most.
Initially used by psychotherapists in the 1970s, MDMA became a street drug in the 80s, and it was outlawed by the DEA in 1985.
A lot of people still do have that image of their minds. Timothy Leary, psychedelics, counterculture, hippies. Why is that a false impression?
So it's being administered in a different context under controlled settings with people that are suffering and trying to help them lead a better life and to stay alive, not to commit suicide.
MAPS is in phase 3 trials with the FDA, studying MDMA's effectiveness in treating PTSD. But it's also studying how MDMA could be used to treat a range of issues, from alcoholism to social anxiety to people coping with life-threatening illnesses.
I just felt awful. I just felt like, am I not going to be here for my boys?
Andy Gold, a San Francisco-based attorney, had just finished treatment for colon cancer in 2005 when he was mistakenly told his cancer had metastasized.
I gradually slipped into a small D depression. I just gradually lost joy in my life.
Like Lubecki, Gold later volunteered for a MAPS study of MDMA-assisted therapy, completing 3 8-hour therapy sessions, either under the influence of MDMA or a placebo. It quickly became clear to Andy and John what they received.
About the 40-minute mark, it kicked in.
I was just bowled over. It was a different experience from feeling high. I was not frightened. I knew that I was like in some other kind of perceptual dimension.
I was able to talk about things that I had never brought up before to anyone.
I wasn't even there. But he was one of my guys, and
it was okay. My body did not betray me. I didn't get panic attacks. I didn't shut down emotionally.
So you've had a peak?
How does it work?
So one of the things that MDMA does is it reduces activity in the fear processing part of the brain, the amygdala, so that memories that are linked to this fear, somehow the fear is calmed and you can feel safe. And there's this release of oxytocin, which is the hormone of love and connection, nursing mothers.
The impact of the MDMA-assisted therapy sessions, transformational.
The malaise sort of dissipated. I returned to myself.
You don't have PTSD now?
Nope, not at all.
Do you feel healed?
Absolutely, 100%.
In a MAPS study released this year, 67% of the participants in the MDMA group no longer qualified for the diagnosis of PTSD 2 months after treatment.
What does this moment mean for psychedelic treatment?
If we do succeed with our second phase 3 study, it means that the whole field of psychedelic psychotherapy has been proven in one instance, and it's the pathbreaker with the FDA.
The FDA could approve MDMA for PTSD as soon as next year. In the meantime, the treatment remains largely out of reach for the 15 million adults in the U.S. currently struggling with the condition.
What's your message to fellow veterans who might be watching this and suffering as you once were?
This treatment's the reason that my son has a father instead of a folded flag. I want all of you to be around when this is FDA approved. You can make it. I know what your suffering is like. I will tell you, it's all gone.
Wow. I should mention John Lubecki now advocates on behalf of that organization, MAPS, in Washington, D.C. Psychedelics, by the way, are getting a warmer welcome on both sides of the aisle. Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw, a veteran himself, and Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they've proposed separate amendments that support psychedelic research, but this veterans community in particular is so in need. And the studies so far, as we've seen, have been pretty impressive.
What am I missing? It feels like a game changer. I mean, as somebody who has panic disorder and I literally cannot control fear or worry in my brain, this seems revolutionary.
It has that potential. And I mean, it's all a matter of study, but you don't take it every day.
So that's what I wonder.
Yeah.
Like, does it come back?
Yeah, so the clinical trial, you have 3 separate sessions, 8 hours each with a therapist. You
So
take
there's
a dose.
therapy and
The therapy is at the same time. You take a dose of this. It's a therapeutic dose. The therapists are there. You talk through and walk through your trauma.
There's counseling involved with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's actually MDMA assisted therapy.
So it's a combo.
And what they're saying is that somehow when you process these memories and these traumatic events without the attendant fear, the emotion, the fight or flight, the amygdala part of your brain, that like reptile part of your brain, that these veterans and other patients have said it's transformative and it lasts for years.
Well, the veteran suicide rate in this country is out of control. This could be a game changer.
Well, that
for
was the
staff.
biggest thing for this veteran. That's why he was saying at the end, just hold on because there's potential this could go be more widely available. He did this years ago.
Wow. But
And
his son
today
has
he said he's
that was a
changed
crazy
his
yeah,
life.
but it said, hey, I have my son has a father rather than a folded flag.
So there's potential implications, still being studied,
So
but
interesting. That was
Wow.
very
pretty
good.
fascinating.
That is very
Wow.
fascinating.